Welcome back to my channel again. We're going to use this today. I'm seeing a lot of potential in this pump. It was an old shampoo pump. And what I'm thinking is we need to make a bat for my cage. And this little guy right here, he kind of looks like, that looks like a bear. What do you think? Or sort of a dog. But we're gonna have, I have a little bit of black felt. And then I have some black fur. And then I also have this furry little fabric I got at the Dollar Tree. They do have a little bit of brown. Now I want mine to be black. And then we could put a little brown on his shoulders. But let's get started. Okay, I've never made one of these, so we're making this together. I'm going to take a little bit of the felt and I want to stretch over top of the lid. But we need something that can make a little bit more of a dome on the top of his head. I think I have the perfect thing I can use. I need to take the top off of this little wooden mushroom and glue it on top of there to give it a little bit of a dome. Okay, this plastic's a little too smooth. We need to take the sandpaper and roughen that up so the glue will stick to that when we glue the little mushroom dome on top of that. Yeah, I think that's going to be the height that I need. That looks pretty good. And it looks like the same shape of his head. So I'm going to cut a small section of this black felt. And I'm going to glue and stretch it over top of that pump head. And I'm going to make sure I add a little glue to the top of the dome so it holds that when I pull down and around the head. And it doesn't pull it apart because it'll hold it. And now I'm just gluing and stretching and pulling and getting this all brought down around the top of that pump head. Now if you ever get glue on anything, when you're working with black, you could just touch it up with a little bit of marker, black marker. And that's exactly what I had on the nose there. I had a little bit of glue on the nose. And then I was able to trim it. Now I have this little piece of brown, and I'm trying to get the length that I need. I want to go around his neck area. And it is just a piece of fabric. One way stretches and the other way doesn't. And I want the way that stretches so I can pull it a little bit. And when you stretch that, the edges will curve under. So that kind of works for you when you're gluing. And I got it, because you're working with a different color of fur, it kind of gets on everything. So I was just using my tape roller to pull that off of the felt. But now I need to put some ears on there before I wrap the other fabric around his neck. So I'm going to just cut out a couple little ears. And I'm just looking at the picture and just kind of freehand and everything. And then I have to make a second one. I folded the little ear down on one end and glued it to give it that little, like a leaf look with a little curve. And now I'm kind of pre-fitting them to see where they would be sitting on his head. And then I'm just going to glue them flat against his head on each side. I think they're going to work out pretty good. They look like bat ears to me. Now I'm taking the stretchy little fur and getting the edges to curl downwards. And then I'm going to wrap this around and glue it. And I wanted to get his ears on before I stuck that around, just in case that came up near there. Now I'm pre-fitting some of the black fur to come around the brown fur that I just put on. Oh, he's shaping up to look like a bat. I don't think I'm going to need that straw. I just pulled that off. And I'll just put a little glue down there and kind of get the fur to stick around the little opening at the bottom. I have a bunch of noses and eyes that I had gotten from Temu. So we just need to find the right size eyeballs to use and a nose. And then I'll just clip off the little stem and just glue those directly onto the felt. And once this nose goes on, it starts to look like a bat. Really good. So let's get the eyes on there. I'm really liking this bat. I probably couldn't buy one that looked as good without getting a rubber bat. Look at him. Oh, I gotta have to do my name. Okay, I enlarged a couple pair of wings, and I'm going to use them as my pattern. And I'm going to cut them out and glue those together. Now for these wings, I used a cardstock when I printed them out. And I chose to do this because I'm winging it here. I'm not sure of what I'm doing, but we're going to do this. So this seemed to work out really well. Now I laid the bat on these wings, and oh my gosh, it's perfect. Perfect size. It all worked out so good. And they look good on the inside, but we're not going to see the inside. We're going to have them folded, but I'm using these as my pattern. And you know how I keep all the old stems from all my fake flowers? They're coming in handy right now. I'm going to find a pair of these that I can use on each side of the bat wing, and it will hold the bend. Now, bat wing looks leathery on the outside, so I have my Cricut vinyl, and it's a satin color. It's a satin finish, but that's what we're going to use also as the outside. So I just need to get the size I need and cut a piece of vinyl. And if you didn't want to close these wings up because that print looks pretty good, you could just glue your bat directly onto that wing and then put the vinyl on the back side and cut it out and then hang it like that. But we need to try to mark where we want to glue the metal on the back side of this wing so we can sandwich it between the vinyl and this paper. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to shape these metal pieces and then glue them on. And this is what it looks like with the vinyl on the back. You're not going to see the inside because it will be curved. But if you wanted to just leave the bat wings open, you would just cut around that vinyl. But now I'm going to shape this metal to come around. And I did curved the little pieces of metal that were sticking out halfway in his wing, like a real bat's. They have like a hook. And then I just took um, a, a marker and I wiped the marker all over it to turn it black. And now I need to add 2 feet at the bottom and use those for hanging him. So I'm searching for one that I can just pull apart, and then I will take a magic marker to it and turn it black also. And I also grabbed some of my scrapbooking ink and I rubbed the brown ink on there just to give a little contrast and get into any of the cracks and crevices that the marker couldn't get into. And this is what my little bat looks like. I took him outside and hung him in the little cat tree. And I think he turned out really well. Now I need to work on my crow. Thank you for watching.